Welcome to Sports House Podcast, Mile High Talk Edition. I'm Chase House. Today I'm going to talk about the Denver Broncos QB situation, as complex as it is. At the moment, Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater are the quarterbacks on the Broncos roster right now, and they are currently battling for QB1. I wanted to talk about who I think wins that, and if it matters. Between Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock, I think Drew Lock, hands down, should win this job. And if he doesn't, then he's not the franchise quarterback, clearly. I think Teddy Bridgewater, though, was a good sign for the Broncos, especially because Carolina paid $7 million of his contract. So the Broncos got Teddy Bridgewater at only $3 million. Now, Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, they're really not the conversation right now because all eyes are on the Aaron Rodgers situation. What I want to happen is I want Drew Lock to win the position over Teddy Bridgewater, which I think he will. And I want the Broncos to keep Drew Lock and trade for Aaron Rodgers. Keeping Drew Lock most likely won't happen if they acquire Aaron Rodgers, because teams are interested in Drew Lock, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Broncos have to trade him. Imagine if the Broncos bring in Aaron Rodgers and they get Drew Lock on board to stay with the team, to learn behind Rodgers for a few years, maybe win some Super Bowls, and then take over from Aaron Rodgers and lead the Broncos. That's what I want to see happen. I want the Broncos to keep Lock and still slam the pedal and try to pursue Aaron Rodgers, which I believe they will. George Paton has talked often this offseason about how he is going all in to try to upgrade the quarterback position. So that takes us to Aaron Rodgers. Chances are good that if he leaves, the Broncos can trade for him. Other than the Packers, the Broncos have the next best odds for the next team that Aaron Rodgers is going to play for, according to Vegas. The Broncos' odds skyrocketed after the draft from 66-1 to win the Super Bowl to 20-1 after the draft and the Rodgers rumors. These are just the odds because of Aaron Rodgers and the Broncos for not falling for getting a quarterback in the draft. And before it plummeted all the way to 20-1, I was able to place a bet on the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. And assuming they bring in Aaron Rodgers, these odds are going to plummet even more, clearly. But I was able to place a bet when it was 40-1. So halfway between that drop-off from 66-1 to 20-1. And obviously, I tried to get in when it was 66-1. I drove down to the nearest casino, and the odds were already 20-1. And so I went to a few more casinos until I finally found one that was still 40-1. And so I cut my losses there. I put $150 down. And if the Broncos win the Super Bowl, that pays out at $6,000. Now, if Aaron Rodgers signs with the Broncos, that is a fantastic bet. Right now, if you were to place $150, say, on the Kansas City Chiefs, you'd win like $825. The odds when Aaron Rodgers, if he actually gets to Denver, they're not going to be 20-1. That's going to be insanely high. They're 20-1 just because of the rumors that he might go there. Broncos drop to about 5-1 if he signs there. So if you're still somewhere where the odds aren't 20-1, I mean, even if they are, that's still a good bet if Aaron Rodgers does in fact land there. But if it's anything higher than 20-1, I think that's a pretty good bet. Because if he signs with the Broncos, they're legit Super Bowl contenders. And there's no way that they have less than top 3 odds if he signs with them. So 20-1, if you bank on the Broncos getting him, which right now, Vegas has it, the Broncos have the highest chance to land him, and it adds up. They have the most cap. They have the most assets to acquire him. So if you are somewhere where the odds for the Broncos to win the Super Bowl, if they're still like 40-1, or even if they were somehow higher than that still, take that bet. Because if the Broncos land Rodgers, they're top like 3 at the highest as far as favorites go chances are good if he leaves the Packers that the Broncos can sign him. Broncos have the second most cap in the NFL. And recently, Juwan James, the right tackle on the Denver Broncos, tore his Achilles, and he's expected to be out for the entire season, if not most of the season. And Juwan James, if you are a Bronco fan and you're trying to remember where you've heard his name, it's probably from the injury report. Since 2019, when the Broncos signed him to be the highest paid right tackle in the entire NFL, he played 3 games in 2019. He opted out in 2020 because of COVID, and now, 2021, he tears his Achilles. He's played 3 games, and the Broncos have already paid him over like $30 million. He signed on with a guaranteed bonus of like $27 million the first year. He's robbed the Broncos of enough money. So thankfully, when he tore his Achilles, he wasn't on the Broncos training facility. So the Broncos aren't obligated to pay him his $10 million that they owe him. And I fully expect the Broncos to void his guarantees and cut him. And I would. And he's played 3 games, and he's costed them like over $30 million. He's had enough money for doing nothing. It's thankfully they don't have to pay him that $10 million. So now their cap grows an extra $10 million. And the Broncos have Teddy Bridgewater for less than $3 million. And Drew Lock for the next 2 years for less than that. His base salary is around like $1.5 million for the next 2 years. Both of those quarterbacks costing like $6 million. This is why the Broncos, I think, should trade for Aaron Rodgers and keep Drew Lock on as the backup. It's not costing them any money against the cap, and it gives him a good position to take over the Broncos and learn from not only Peyton Manning, who he's been learning from this offseason, but learn behind Aaron Rodgers if the Broncos were to sign him. The Broncos don't have to give up on Drew Lock just because they acquire Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old. And honestly, if he signs with the Broncos, I believe the Broncos can three-peat starting this year. They have first and second rounders across the board on every skills position on offense. Aaron Rodgers has never had that talent, and he's coming off an MVP caliber season. He's in his prime right now, playing better than any quarterback in the league. The MVP, the best among the best. If the Broncos sign him, they have no holes defensively anymore. The Broncos have very few holes. They patched a lot of them during this draft, and if they signed Aaron Rodgers, the Broncos 20-1 Super Bowl chance odds, they're dropping to first or second in the entire NFL, as they should. And if they were able to talk Drew Lock into staying and to not pursuing a trade, he is under contract for 2021 and 2022. And as I said before, like hardly any money, like $3 million total. If the Broncos can keep him as their backup and bring in Aaron Rodgers, that would be the number one situation that the Broncos can do out of all their quarterback questions. To sign Aaron Rodgers, keep Drew Lock for the future. Teddy Bridgewater, he could be involved in the trade. But if you bring in Aaron Rodgers, this Denver Broncos team, they're the real deal. I got to say this, though. It depends what the Broncos give up to bring Aaron Rodgers in, obviously. But if they keep the core of their young talent, especially offensively, Aaron Rodgers has never had those weapons before. The Broncos are immediate Super Bowl favorites if he joins their team. And his top 3 teams that Aaron Rodgers said he wanted to go to, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the 49ers. 49ers, they drafted Trey Lance, which takes them effectively out of the quarterback market. And the Raiders are water trash. And it's also interesting to think that maybe Aaron Rodgers just threw the Raiders in there to get the Broncos to really push the pedal down to pursue him. Because I have a hard time believing Aaron Rodgers wants to go to the Las Vegas Raiders. They're a poverty franchise, and they are more than just one piece away. And trading for Aaron Rodgers would probably deplete their entire team, and they don't have the cap. So they would have to trade a lot to acquire a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. The Broncos, though, they have the second most cap in the entire league. They have young weapons. They have a great defense, if not the best defense in the NFL for this upcoming season. They're going to be the real deal. And DeMarcus Ware, he was in working with Bradley Chubb this offseason. Peyton Manning working with Drew Lock. I like the sounds of this season. It's super reminiscent of Super Bowl 50. The no-fly zone defense, the no-fly zone 2.0. This Bronco team, they're improving very, very steadily. And Aaron Rodgers would just put that right under the microscope for the entire league to see. And the AFC West would be the most competitive division in the entire NFL. You'd have 4 quarterbacks between Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and then Derek Carr. That is a hella competitive division. And 3 of those teams are making the playoffs. We'll see if the poverty-ass Raiders can make it. Since I'm speaking of the entire Broncos quarterback situation, I want to bring up Deshaun Watson. And I've been super adamant on the Broncos going to pursue him. Now, obviously, with all the legal issues going on with him, everything is on pause. And assuming that he is innocent, I want the Broncos to pursue him. I just want to get that clear. But assuming he is innocent, he is also a very intriguing option for the Broncos to get as their quarterback. And he is a lot younger than Aaron Rodgers. But it's starting to look like this situation is going to drag on for a really long time. And there's a lot of belief out there in the NFL that Deshaun Watson won't be playing football anywhere for this season. So until something happens with his lawsuit, there's not much to report on for him football-wise anymore. But I just wanted to get that clear, that assuming he is innocent, I want the Broncos to pursue him. But if he's not, then he's scum. But to me, he's innocent until proven guilty. But his football career right now seems to be on halt. So until something there changes, there's nothing to really report on.
We'll be right back after this message from your sponsor, who is also me.
Is your child showing any of these symptoms? Laughing, sleeping, uncontrollable eating, slurring words, inability to complete full sentences, loss of memory, philosophical thinking?
Your baby may be abusing marijuana.
Some long-term effects may include total loss of brain function, complete paralyzation, total organ failure, increased risk of racism, sudden death. Always remember, a stoned child is no longer your child. For your own safety, please contact the local police department.
Lemonade for sale! Lemonade! Lemonade for sale, $1! Lemonade for sale! Oh, customer!
Hey there, little buddy. Selling lemonade?
Yeah, fresh lemonade.
Ooh, how much?
$1.
Wow, $1, huh? Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Are you sure it's $1? That's pretty expensive. How about 50 cents?
No sales.
No sale. No. All right. Listen here, you stupid little moron. 50 cents is a good price for lemonade. Nobody's ever gonna spend $1 on your lemonade that looks like dish soap. Actually, give me that. Ew, it tastes like piss water. I want a refund. Give me 50 cents.
You never paid for it.
All right, listen here, you greedy little scum. I want my 50 cents, and I want it now.
Well, I don't have the 50 cents.
Hey, excuse me? Is there a problem here? Yeah, your booger-faced son is selling liquid poop disguised as lemonade, and he owes me 50 cents. He's being a real freaking prick about it. Now, you know what? I'm out of here. Hey, you can't do that! Your lemonade stand sucks!
This has been an ad for Dart Styrofoam Cups, the best styrofoam cups in town.
Rodgers versus Watson, if you want to talk about which one of those two, assuming Watson's innocent, which one of those two I would want the Broncos to pursue the hardest, it gets really tricky because Deshaun Watson's a lot younger than Aaron Rodgers. But if Aaron Rodgers joins the Broncos right now, this season, the Broncos have a chance to win like 3 championships in a row, like to three-peat right now if Aaron Rodgers was their quarterback. If they had MVP caliber football from the quarterback position in Denver for the next 3 years, with all the weapons and the defense that they have, they might bring in 3 championships in 3 years. And frankly, I think Aaron Rodgers is sick of seeing Tom Brady win all these Super Bowls. He needs some help. He needs some weapons. The Broncos have weapons everywhere across the board. And Peyton Manning, he didn't get his second ring until he came to Denver. I think the chances that the Broncos win a Super Bowl are a lot higher. Not a lot higher, but they are higher with Aaron Rodgers for right now to win the Super Bowl like this season. But obviously, Deshaun Watson is 25. Aaron Rodgers is 37. He's 12 years younger, and he's in his prime. So you can make the argument that if Deshaun Watson is innocent, that he is the better option for the Broncos long term. But for success right now, the Broncos would be stupid to pass on Aaron Rodgers, especially if they can convince Drew Lock to stay. And frankly, I don't think if they wanted Drew Lock to stay, and they were adamant about that he could take over from Aaron Rodgers in the future and lead the team, I think it would be a perfect scenario for everybody involved. And if the Broncos can convince that to happen and to get Aaron Rodgers, if they had him right now, they're winning. Aaron Rodgers is pissed off seeing all these quarterbacks get rings. Aaron Rodgers is too good to have 1 ring. He knows that. The Packers have been good for as long as he's been there. They've been a top team in the league. But that's because of Aaron Rodgers. The Packers have done little to help him offensively for the entirety of his whole career. And they make it clear that they didn't appreciate what they had. And this is a prime example of that. You have to appreciate what you have while you have it. Which, by the way, was a tweet from Devontae Adams that Aaron Rodgers liked. Because Aaron Rodgers just said, okay, you want to draft my replacement? Such a savage move on Aaron Rodgers' side. Because the very next draft, Aaron Rodgers says, okay, I'm going to make this draft hell for you. I just went and won the MVP after you drafted my replacement. Well, now I'm going to ruin your draft day like you ruined mine. And he lets the bombshell go that he wants out. Now think of how savage it would be for the Broncos to bring him in and to keep Drew Lock and do exactly what the Packers wanted to do with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. But the Broncos do it. Win Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers and Drew Lock and the Broncos. How savage would that be? And they can make it happen. They have all the cap to bring in Aaron Rodgers. They can offer whatever it takes to bring him in, as long as it doesn't deplete them offensively, which is actually a really good transition to the next thing that I want to talk about, which is what the Broncos should trade to get Aaron Rodgers. I just said that they should not deplete their offense, and I stand by that. And I don't think the Broncos necessarily have to. I think a good trade would be 3 first-round picks the next 3 years, a 2 or maybe 2 two-rounders, and then a couple players like Teddy Bridgewater, which the Packers could use. They have 1 quarterback other than Aaron Rodgers on their depth chart, and that's Jordan Love. So they could use Teddy Bridgewater, and he would only cost them $3 million. And then somebody like Tim Patrick, who is a real underrated stud, probably one of the most underrated receivers in the whole league, if I'm being honest. So 3 firsts, a second, maybe 2 second-rounders, and Teddy Bridgewater and Tim Patrick. What I would like to see the Broncos do is if the Packers demand more than that to get Aaron Rodgers, they should pay the price. But what I would like to see from the Broncos is them adding more draft capital in the trade rather than their young players, because that is probably the top thing that attracted Aaron Rodgers. So you can't just trade all your receivers, all your weapons to acquire him, because you're just causing way more holes in your team than you need. So if they can get away with stockpiling draft picks in this trade rather than their players, they have so much young talent on the Broncos roster right now that it would be okay to not have a first rounder for the next 3 years, because they already have some studs that they drafted the last few seasons. The Broncos drafted really, really well the last few years. And if they can keep these guys and just trade a lot of picks and some players like the ones I mentioned, Tim Patrick and Teddy Bridgewater, the Packers could use both of those players. And the Broncos, it wouldn't be hurting them if they lost them. So if the Packers demand more than that, then I'd like to see them just add picks into the trade. Give them 4 first-rounders if they have to. For as long as you have Aaron Rodgers, why are you even going to need a first-round pick? It's probably going to be at the very end of the draft anyway. Especially if you're winning Super Bowls, you're going to have the dead last pick. So trade them all your picks. Trade them everything that it takes to acquire Aaron Rodgers. But try and keep the core young talent that is attracting Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos in the first place.
Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers are like a couple that is dating or married, and one of them has cheated on the other one, and now they want to work it out with counseling and therapy and all of that. And the other person, Aaron Rodgers, wants nothing to do with it. And those relationships and marriages usually end in breakups and divorces. That's the road that this is going down. And if Aaron Rodgers, who is as stubborn as he is, wants out, it's hard to believe that he's going to stay in Green Bay. He's now referencing the Packers GM as Jerry Krause. And if that name sounds familiar, that was the Chicago Bulls GM back in the day with Michael Jordan. You can see all the behind the scenes on Jerry Krause in that situation on The Last Dance on Netflix. He is now referencing their GM as Jerry Krause. That's what he thinks of him. And he said that he's not returning as long as he's still the GM. For me, it's hard to see Aaron Rodgers returning to Green Bay, especially because they can say what they want now. They can say, look, Aaron, we are invested in you. We're totally invested in Aaron Rodgers, blah, blah, blah. No, you weren't. You weren't when you drafted his replacement, Jordan Love, last year. You weren't when you didn't tell him about it. You weren't when you didn't involve him in the head coaching hiring, which he wanted to be involved in. They've done him dirty. They have not done well by Aaron Rodgers for the entire time they've had him. They've taken advantage of that, and they haven't put weapons around him. Instead of drafting him some help, they draft his replacement. He should be pissed. He goes and wins the MVP and then demands he wants out. And now he's going to go to the Broncos and win 3 straight Super Bowls. That's going to do it for this episode of Sports House Podcast. If you guys liked this episode, make sure to like and follow Sports House Podcast so you can be notified when I release more episodes like this. It was lovely to see all your pretty faces, although I can't see any of your faces, which is probably a good thing because you guys are probably hideous. Just kidding. Love you. Until next time, peace.
Sports House Podcast.